What's going on, everyone? It's Dre from Dre in the Kitchen. So it's week 2 of being on the carnivore lifestyle. I'm not going to call it a diet. I'm going to call it a lifestyle because to me, I think it is a lifestyle. And I want to talk about a little bit of what I've discovered. I don't know if you can see, but my face is starting to thin out. The extra skin, my triple chin, I call it, as I used to have, is almost gone. It's still, still there. I'll discuss the weight loss. I'll discuss all the things. But first, thank you to everyone who followed that first video. I had no idea what it was going to be like. I had no idea if anybody was going to watch it. And then I started seeing the viewership climb, and I was like, okay, I think people want to know a little bit about people's experience. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. How has it been? It's actually, today makes 16 days that I have been full carnivore. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the poop. Listen, you got to know these things, right? So let's talk a little bit about what I've experienced. As of this morning, I am down 16.7 pounds. You heard me, 16.7 pounds. But what I've started to notice from that, and that's only 16 days in, is that the swelling that I used to have, I'll call inflammation, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what to call it, is starting to go down. I used to suffer from chronic back pain. I rarely feel it. I used to get headaches on a regular basis. They are very far and few in between. That's what I've noticed. I suffered from extreme heartburn where my ENT doctor used to give me, I don't even know what they're called, but protonics. I used to take over-the-counter medication. I think most recently I was taking famotidine. He was giving me a 20 milligram pill to control the heartburn. I have to tell you, 16 days in, that heartburn is almost completely subsided, which is super exciting because I used to suffer from that. But I also think because I gave up alcohol, I gave up the red wine, that the red wine used to cause my reflux to have issues. But since I haven't had a single drink in 16 days, I don't feel any of those things. Y'all, this is crazy. So that's what I've been feeling. Let's talk a little bit more about what else I've been feeling. So they talk a lot about the mental clarity. I can tell you that I've been going... Sleep. Let's talk about sleep. I suffer insomnia. And what I've noticed in probably the last 6 days, 5 to 6 days, is that when I get to bed, I actually disconnect. I put off all the iPads, the phones, no TikTok at night. I'm falling asleep easier, and I'm actually sleeping 6 to 7 hours without waking up. I used to wake up 2 and 3 times a night, maybe even 4 times a night. That's actually calming itself down. The mental clarity and the focus is off it's crazy how you feel. Like, I'm in the moment that even in a meeting that I had on Thursday, my boss afterwards was like, you're like on fire. You're like, your comebacks and your thoughts, everything is just really, really, it's quick-witted, it's fast. I attribute that to carnivore lifestyle. And now let's talk about the not so great part. Because why not? You're here for the good, the bad, and the poop, right? Okay. So there was one day, and this was probably 3 days ago, Ivan had bought these sausages and they looked phenomenal. I was like, okay, they have 1 gram of carb. I was like, let me just try it, right? I was like, okay, I wanted something new, which I'll discuss food. I have some tips and tricks that I've come across. But I was like, let me take a couple of bites of this sausage. I was like, okay. I was like, first of all, I think after the second bite, I was like, why is this thing so sweet? You have to, one thing you have to do on carnivore is you must become an avid label reader. What's fructose in the sausage? I was like, okay, negative number 1. And I had seen it, but I was like, maybe a little bite isn't going to kill me. I was dead ass wrong. Dead wrong. I was in the bathroom the following day, all day. All day. My body was like, what are you doing to me? I don't like it. cut it out. Literally, my body spoke to me. And I realized that because I've gone carnivore, because there's no carbs, because there's no sugar, there's only meat and fats, different fats, which I have some here, that my body was like, what are you doing to me? It literally, like, I was a hot mess. I felt nauseous. So when I hear stories, because believe me, I've been doing I'm watching videos on YouTube, reading a lot of books, and doing all these different things, and they all say this, your body's just adjusting. So it's only water, people, don't worry. As your body's adjusting, you'll learn what works and what doesn't work, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, no. The body was just like, what are you doing to me? I don't like it. Don't do it again. I learned my lesson. So, yeah, your body really does begin to adapt. For me, I started realizing that even certain smells were like a little off. So, that's what I've experienced thus far into 16 days into carnivore. Now, what I feel I have to adjust to, and some others I've been following so many people on this journey that is getting used to eating meat and what kinds of meat. Some folks are eating just straight ribeyes, straight steaks, which I have this gorgeous T-bone right here. Look at how glorious this is. A little secret, if you're in Central Florida, let me know. I have the best meat market that I go to. Oh my God. This was $4.99 a pound. Don't even get me started. I have like 25 pounds in the freezer. They're all measured out at 1.25 pounds because of the bone and all of that. So delicious. But that's another story. I was like, I don't want to eat meat so much. It's like, yes, this is carnivore, but can I do something other than beef? So I found that chicken thighs work, but you have to be careful when you cook certain things. So what I do with my chicken thighs, and maybe I'll turn this into a video, I take the fat off and I actually render it in the oven. So I put it between parchment and 2 cookie sheets so that they stay flat, but they become like these little crispy chips. Delicious. I use salt, pepper, and I put a little bit of my homemade adobo. I don't use the pre-bought stuff, I make my own. So I put a little bit of that and it literally satisfied. So I cooked it in butter. So when you cook it in butter, you get that extra fat and all the things. And that was the other thing that I'm learning is how do you get in your fat intake? It's not all just about the beef, although it really is about the beef. But how do you get the fat in? So let me share with you the little things that I discovered on how to get fat in. So our local Sam sells Kerrygold, but I also have regular unsalted butter. I just took this out of the freezer because I need to make clarified butter. So I make my own clarified butter, that's the other part. I discovered wild boar lard. It's fantastic. A mild taste, delicious. Of course, this isn't my measuring cup because I have to get rid of the impurities on the bottom, but this is the bacon grease from bacon that I made. Save it. Do not discard that. And then, of course, the creme de la creme is I always have duck fat. So you can use different things to cook, to develop flavor, because I needed to get the fat intake. I was realizing I was eating more beef than I was eating enough fat. So when and I shouldn't use the scale as a measurer, but I kind of had to. When I hadn't gone down in 2 days, I actually went up a pound. And that really shouldn't be an indicator, at least not in the beginning of carnivore, I feel. But then I added more fat into my steaks. I literally softened butter on top, or I added a little bit of whatever fat I decided to cook it in, and I ate the steak that way. Within a couple of days, I had dropped several pounds. So, mind you, 16 days and down 16.7 pounds, I know results vary from person to person, but I can tell you that I feel different, I look different. I actually wore my Adidas jumpsuit that I have not been able to fit into for over 2 years today. It used to be, for anyone who follows me on Facebook or Instagram, it was my flying outfit on Delta that I used to call. And so fats. You can have a variety of fats. I haven't made the brown butter bites yet. I'm going to do that later tonight. But I follow so many people and their recipes. I will start cooking some of the recipes. Right now, these first couple of weeks was me getting fat adapted, getting acclimated into I almost said ketogenic because that was many years ago, but into the carnivore lifestyle, because it is an adjustment. You're literally, once you get away from eating the carbs and the sugar, you find that your taste buds are different. So how do I accentuate what I cook? So when I season, this is my dinner tonight, by the way. I'm letting it air dry in the refrigerator. But this is this gorgeous T-bone. It's the strip plus the tenderloin. Oh, it's gonna be fabulous. Is the salt. What kind of salts are there? There are so many different options. So I have mine in little containers that I buy at Home Goods, but I have Malden's Flake Sea Salt. This is a finishing salt. So you can put it after you cut your steak and it's ready to be served. Of course, let your steak rest. You can put that on there. I have Morton's salt, which is a kosher salt, but it's a larger granule. So it's a little saltier bite. Of course, I always have pink Himalayan. It's just something that I've been using for years, ever since I went keto about 3 or 4 years ago. And then my everyday salt is Diamond Kosher. And this comes from my restaurant days. This is what we used to use on a daily basis. It's what I use when I bake and do different recipes. So what else has the challenge been like, the journey? Other than having to realize that you have to reinvent how you eat beef, or if that's the way you want to go, you can figure out your own, what your palate actually finds enjoyable. Because I was literally struggling with, I don't want to eat beef today. And I was nervous about trying chicken or trying like a pork shoulder. So for us, pernil, it's very fatty, it's very delicious. But I realized that I can do that. And you want to be careful what you do. The other thing I had to figure out is, because I travel for my day job, what do you eat when you're not home? Because if you look in my freezer, you will find about 20 of these vacuum sealed. And I also have a New York Strips vacuum sealed, set, dated, and ready to go for whenever I need. How do you eat when you're out? So I think when you go out, you have to allow yourself a little bit of grace. You have to allow yourself to not cheat, but deviate from the strict regimen that you have when you're home. So I actually I'm a creature of habit. So whenever I go away or ever I travel for work, I always look for a Bonefish Grill or a Longhorn Steakhouse. And the reason I choose those two, for me personally, one, they know me at the restaurants already, but I can get steak and I can tell them I'm carnivore, as I did this past Tuesday, I think it was, whatever day it was this week. I told them, hey, I'm fine, because even the manager was like, dude, what are you doing? You look thinner. So I was like, I'm carnivore. So they prepared my steak specifically for me, because they have a custom seasoning that I think has sugar in it. So for me, they didn't do that. They just did salt, pepper, and I asked for butter on the side. Then because it was only a 7-ounce cut, I was like, that's not enough food. So I got 2 skewers of prawns, grilled with salt and pepper only, and then they brought me extra butter for that, and that's what I had for dinner. So as I travel more and more for work, it's gonna be that adaptability. You literally have to fight the temptation, because imagine, you're in your favorite restaurant where you always have a glass of wine, you always have a martini or something if you're not having the wine. So, I'm very strict about my journey on carnivore. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Will I ever drink wine again? Absolutely. Just not right now. I want to get this body to where I want it to go, and we're probably gonna be on this journey for a little while. So follow along with me. Tell me what you're going through in the comments. What are you experiencing? Are there other fats? I know there's tallow, which I don't actually have any tallow currently. What other fats are you doing to get your fat intake in? What are the salts that you're using? I mean, don't laugh at me, but I have lavender salt, I have black salt, there's always different kinds of salts in my kitchen. But how are you doing it? Oh, I followed, you have to follow her. I think she's amazing. Ketogenic Woman. Her website is ketogenicwoman.com, but she made the most delicious chaffles. And she showed me how to make, I guess I've always made it, I just didn't even think about making a hollandaise to have with egg, a chaffle, and hollandaise sauce. It was our own little version of Eggs Benedict. It was so freaking good. I'm going to recreate it and do it, because I just made it for the first time, because you have to eliminate certain things. You can't add certain things, but we'll figure it out together. But I followed her, and she had some great ideas. Some of the things that she makes, though, scare me, because I'm just not that adventurous yet when it comes. Like, I like organ meats, but I can't even say that. It doesn't really scare me. I'm gonna try everything. If it works, it works. If I don't like it, then I don't like it. But at least I have to try it, right? Okay. So, subscribe to the channel, follow along. So, Drain the Kitchen, for those of you who this might be the very first video that you're seeing. I'm a chef. I'm a private chef, and I cook pretty much for a living. So my channel, you're going to see a lot of non-carnivore recipes, because I still have a large following that I still have to cook for them as well. But I will incorporate a couple of things that are carnivore related. And Valentine's Day is around the corner, so I'm doing non-carnivore. Although I think the one dish I will record is how do you cook a steak and have it come out exactly the way you want it. I'll give you a tip. Make sure it's at room temperature. That's all I'm gonna say so far. But that's it. So follow along. 16 days, I'm down 16.7 pounds. I have no clue what I'm gonna be at 30 days, but I'll tell you this. I'm beyond excited. I am ready for what's to come. My therapist even said it. She goes, when I started talking about carnivore, she goes, whoa, you're smiling, you're happy. She couldn't believe the weight loss. But I think for me personally, to bring this to a close, stopping the alcohol was the most important key. I know that some folks are like, well, just have some vodka, have some tequila every now and then. I was like, you know what? Part of this is your liver has to create ketones. So you need to have your liver working optimally. So I chose to eliminate everything that wouldn't help my liver function the way it needs to function. And alcohol was the number one. Now mind you, the fermented grape is my friend. I will return to it after I get to the goal I want to get to. And then we'll gradually, I don't even know how we're going to gradually reintroduce these things. But when we get there, we'll talk about it together, because I know I can't be the only one that's going hardcore and following along and doing the things, but the smile on my face is genuine. I feel good. I'm happy with this progress. How else can you lose that amount of fat in such a short amount of time, and all you're eating is real food? It's real food. So that's it. Subscribe, follow along, give me a like on this, write a comment, let me know where you are on your carnivore journey. Again, this is my week 2 update. I'll be doing these weekly. I'm going to start to introduce some recipes along the way, and I'm excited for what's to come. So if you're ready to take that journey, or if you're on that journey, let's rock it out, let's do this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.